preservation of our video.
The point of contention was, in my mind, as much as recording it and preserving it and putting it up to YouTube. That's my biggest concern, is putting up a product that doesn't need to be up there, that doesn't reflect the meeting. Certainly, we can, as I said in the workshop, we can download whatever is available and keep that on our server.
I think we have to. I think that's the law, as far as preserving and archiving our public records.
Right. Well, we have the minutes of the meeting, and that's what's required. There's no requirement that you videotape meetings.
We are required. This council is required to video these meetings under this law.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah.
But then when we do have the video, then you decided, not us, that it wasn't worthy of publication, or it was difficult to even just get in and see it. You did not want to copy it or preserve it in any way, shape, or form.
I felt it had, and I still feel it has no value because it doesn't show the entire meeting.
Yeah.
Mr.
And
Mayor?
I disagree.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
I think a lot of this arose, we have a new videos, and we had some technical failures, obviously, and there's some concerns. I think if we sit down and discuss what type of policy procedure we need to put together and go from there, have a meeting with Mr. Taylor, possibly with two people. We can come to some resolution on a policy and a procedure on how this. Definitely all to be archived, but I think we need to maybe have a committee even discuss or look at what, how much quality we want in this video. Like, for instance, right now, I think it just failed or something. No?
It did, but I got it back up.
See, we had that glitch. So, yeah, we need to archive it, definitely, but as we move along, we're going to have some technical issues on this thing, and now we need to figure out how to correct them and what we're going to do with it when we get it. So, having said all that, I think Mr. Truesdale, or who wanted?
Yes, I concur with Mrs. Powell that it should be the decision of the council, not the city manager, as to whether it is a good recording, a bad recording, or what is done with it.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Well, I think that if you're missing a third of your meeting, then you shouldn't be posting that on the internet as being your whole meeting. Because when you see them clips and them sketches, people are going to be questioning, what are you cutting out?
Good point. Mr. Clark?
Perhaps in the line of talking, you mentioned the word procedures. And it could be that that would be satisfactory for everyone rather than a policy, which I think speaks more to the philosophy of the council and what we're trying to do. From that angle, we just need a protocol, a procedure that says this is what's going to happen if we have a DVD, a recording that is faulty in some way, that Mr. Taylor will bring in somebody on the council, a person, two people, whatever the protocol is.
Yeah, maybe the mayor.
Maybe the mayor. So perhaps that would be a little easier than thinking about a philosophy or a policy.
Well, that's very true.
Maybe a recommended protocol. Something.
Well, that's it. This is new, so we need to get something, direction for the manager or the whole council in general. So I think if we set some type of put something together.
Can I ask a question?
Mrs. Powell put something, and maybe with the manager sit down, or whoever else.
Well, I will say that.
Mr. Perry, would you set on that?
What's that?
Would you set on like Mrs. Powell?
Yeah, what's that?
You guys get with the manager
What's one more meeting?
and come up with some kind of a procedure for handling these videos.
What we did manage to salvage
Yes.
wasn't bad, and it was very helpful to be able to go back and see what we discussed last month. You can't always remember this and that every detail. It was just great to be able to look at that. And the picture quality was good, and the volume was great. I was very happy with what was produced.
That's good. You know, I can see the manager's point where if we put something out there with holes in it, somebody's gonna say we cut it. And we don't want that. We want to stay as far away from that issue as possible. But we want to maintain it here for those people or anyone to come and see it. But we're having technical difficulties tonight. Until we get this bugs out of this thing, we're going to have them. So,
May I ask a question?
if we set and make, however it works out where it's convenient for you two or possibly two would be plenty, or you need more.
May I ask
Two.
a question?
Go ahead.
Do you feel like this is the solution, or do you need to feel,
Yeah.
you feel like you need to come back with something more different?
We'll talk it over with Mr. Taylor.
Okay, so this feels like you're...
Okay.
I think we'll make it, we have to do something.
I don't disagree.
When
I'm just
that
having the
committee,
initial suggestion. I want to know if you feel like you're being supported.
Yes.
when that committee comes back, bring it back, please, and then the council can look at it again. If we need to tweak or modify it, we'll go from there. How's that? Is that workable? Everybody happy? Okay. Okay, moving on to item L, discussion on for reinstatement of the council's financial committee. I know
This was placed on at the request of Councilmember Powell.
Since there's so many of us that are new to the council, and I know we look at the finances, and I just feel like, I don't know about everybody, and we'll have to vote on this. I feel like I need to get a little better grasp on what we're spending money on, and how it's broken down, and I think having that finance committee would be a way to do it.
Yeah, I would suggest an alternative, and we've made this suggestion to all council members of this offer, is come in and we can go over the budget with you and explain the budget, and that's proven to be very beneficial, because just looking at the bills doesn't really give you the total picture of our budget. And that might be a good starting point. If you want to come in and meet with myself and Deb, and we can go through the budget and explain our revenue sources, our expenditures, how things relate. Because I don't think you're going to get exactly what you want by just looking at the bills that come in on a monthly basis.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Okay, we're in discussion. Go ahead.
I think I'm the only person on this council that sat on the finance committee. I sat on the finance committee when it existed for
Okay.
2 years.
So did Bob.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Bob? Finance committee?
Yes.
Were we? I'm trying to remember. Maybe I wasn't on when you were.
No.
I was on with Charlie.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's Ken Benham and Charlie Watson at
Okay.
my time, and not to interrupt,
No, that's fine.
I can concur with Mrs. Powell, because you'll find this amusing, folks, but I'm from the old school, and in one of our meetings, it said a flashlight. Of course, it had been budgeted. That was explained to me, but a flashlight for $150. And I said to Mr. Taylor, a flashlight of $150 ought to shine all the way to the West Coast. But you see what I'm saying, when you can go to Menards and buy a huge flashlight, Magnum, is it?
A mad light.
$39.50. Those are areas that I think that you're talking about, Mrs. Powell, is not necessarily how does the finances operate and the incoming money and so on. You want to see the expenditures, and I was a little disappointed when we did away with that, because maybe it's a formality, but it's a good checkpoint.
Just to comment on that particular example, that was actually a contractual obligation on behalf of the city. The officers got an amount of money to spend on equipment, and a flashlight that that particular officer brought cost that much, the policeman. And so we have to pay the bill because it's contractually, a contractual obligation.
I guess one question I had once, and Deb helped me with it, thank you, was there was a check written for over $400 for the Veterans Park. So I asked Deb, I said, why did we spend $400 on the Veterans Park? Well, only something like $30 was actually spent on the Veterans Park, and the other expense was miscellaneous. So, what was the miscellaneous expense? I never really did find that out. So it's just something maybe as counselors we should keep an eye on. There's just little mistakes that happen that you need to look at.
Just to clarify, Mr. Mayor, committees are at the discretion of the mayor and the council, correct?
And this is discussion whether we want to do it.
Right, and I was
next
going
month.
to say, so if, we would bring it back next month, but if it's something that council feels strongly that they would like to do, and there's people who'd like to serve on it, I certainly, my opinion would be, I don't see anything wrong with it.
And that's where we're at.
I think Deb wanted to respond. Would that be okay?
Definitely. If she has any comments or concerns, definitely.
There wasn't a mistake. What it is the, when it has the amount, like for, say, CarQuest, when we play CarQuest, we'll have 20 invoices. It's a, so the line is gonna pick up, the item the description you see is gonna pick up as much as we can fit in there. If you want us to put 20 lines and list every CarQuest invoice on the report, we can, but this is like a summary report. So when it says Veterans Park, that's because one invoice on that bill was for Veterans Park, and then the rest, not miscellaneous, they were for specific things, but you're only seeing the, the description that can fit on the report is that big. If you want a different format of a report where you want to see every line item of every invoice, we can do that.
Just to clarify, Mr. Mayor, isn't that what used to happen for Finance Committee? I seem to remember having had those, specifically for Finance Committee, like we got extra things when I was on it.
No, you just got the checks with the invoices attached to them.
Okay. Which is,
And then you would see possibly they would have available the stack of invoices from CarQuest.
right. Right.
It's-
That's what I'm saying.
Or in the meeting with us,
Okay.
if you wanted to look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what used to, we used to sit down and do that.
Okay.
I'm just saying, that's what happened when I sat in those meetings.
Yeah, it was the same report we have now, but you could say, oh, I want to see.
Such and such invoice, and you would pull it out and say, here it is.
Okay.
And then we could bring it back to council for those, and then we would say to council, do you have any questions?
Kind of what I'm looking at.
So,
I know that the report we get is, adequate for us, but maybe when we're wondering, another example was, there was like $2,000 and 29 cents, or $2,029, and it said shadow boxes. And I'm going, well, did we spend $2,000 on shadow boxes? And I went to you and I asked you, and it wasn't. It was postage for the shadow boxes, and the other $2,000 was wages for Mr. Terrence. So,
Which goes back to, you can't fit it all in one line. So we're picking up the first line of the invoice,
okay.
of the check.
just to follow up on the discussion, so you would have some input for the next time, Mr. Mayor. Would you like each of us to tell you whether we think that a finance committee is a good idea, if we would be willing to sit on one?
Or we can put it as a motion item next month. Do this.
Right, I think, would you like
decide.
input on that?
Well, that's the will of the council. If the council deems we want to reinstate this committee, then we should put it on the agenda for next month.
So we should table it?
Well, this is discussion.
It's a discussion item, so I was saying, maybe
Okay.
we should each give the mayor our personal opinion on how, so he would know how to proceed for next month.
Yep. Okay,
Agreed.
Everybody happy with that now? We're all set? Moving on. Motion M. Motion to approve resolution